What if we told you the most powerful client acquisition strategy in your business costs less than $2, takes 3 minutes, and can outperform your paid ads? But 99% of business owners will never do it consistently. Today, we're talking about Power Notes and why they may be the most underutilized growth tool in modern business. Hey, lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Bolts. I'm an attorney and founder of Bolts Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Bolts, owner of Bolts Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the Miss in biz.
Let's get biz done. Today we're talking about the 7 steps to writing a power note. This is derived from the book and teaching of Michael Mayer in the 7 levels of communication, and it was introduced to me by Tommy Sandvvic. We call him Tommy with the H. He's part of my B&I chapter, and he recently taught our chapter about the power of the power note, and I thought it was so great that I asked if he minded if I shared it with my audience, and he said absolutely. Please spread the word. So why this works is that the average person receives over 100 emails a day. How many emails do you think you receive a day?
Oh my gosh, too many. Too
Yeah.
many. Every time I'm like unsubscribe, block.
Well, You're smart. I never take the time to do that, so I just get like so much junk mail. But between our business emails and our personal emails, and sometimes we have more than one personal email, it just is very overwhelming the number of emails that we get. And open rates, because we're so inundated with email marketing, is on average around 20 to 25%, which is good, but not as good as a handwritten note would be. Response rates to emails are under 5%, but handwritten notes, the open rate is about 99%.
Wow.
And people read the entire note. Usually. It's about 100% of people read the entire handwritten note. And studies show that handwritten mail can increase response rate by 5 to 7 times.
I know that they say that people trust like anything written on paper, print advertisements, printed information a lot more than they trust it if it's just like on the internet somewhere.
Sure. So the reason why is because handwritten notes trigger something called emotional interruption. It's unexpected, it's rare, and it feels human. So in a world where automation is becoming the norm, a handwritten note is authentic.
Yeah, I love that. And I think too, when you get a card or something in the mail, there's like that little boost of excitement that you feel, curiosity, surprise, and you just don't get that with email at all.
And I think back, your Aunt Kathy was one who always sent birthday cards every year. She never missed one. My grandma Dottie was the same. And I feel like the younger generations, mine included, we've kind of lost the art of sending cards to people. Yeah. And for that reason, I think it's extra special when someone takes the time to do it.
Yeah.
So it isn't hard to write a note. It's just intentional. And most people don't build their business on intention. We sometimes build it on what's the most convenient. we'd rather spend $5,000 on ads than spend 2 hours writing notes. And even if the notes may produce better relationships and higher quality referrals, still, this is true. When I sit and think about, okay, the power note can really make an impact. Do I want to sit down for 2 hours and write out 50 notes? The answer is, I'd rather be doing just about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's tedious. It's not that it's difficult or anything like that, but I know for me, I can think of so many other things that I could do and, be able to feel more fulfilled in that moment, not thinking about the long term, of course.
Well, and it's just, there's so many other efficient ways to send a nice note. We can send a quick text message. We can send an email. Like, there's other ways that we've just become accustomed to communicating that is quicker and more convenient. But I'm committed to trying it because I can see that it could work. And so I'm going to do it. So there's 7 steps to creating a power note under the 7 levels of communication philosophy. First, and this was a little interesting to me, to use an unbranded card. Something with just a symbol or a monogram that represents you personally, because it's a personal note, but not something with a company logo.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought to do that. I would have thought if you're trying to get them to know who you are, you would want your branding to be consistent.
Yeah, and I have probably 1,000 Bolts Legal branded cards that I was planning to use, and now I'm like, maybe not. I don't know. I'm still a little torn on this because I think about when I receive a note, and if it does come on a branded card, that doesn't offend me in any way or anything. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll do a test. Yeah, I'll send some on the branded, some on the unbranded, and see if it makes any difference. The second tip is to use blue ink. Interesting. It looks original and positive. I know in law school they always talked about signing documents or contracts in blue ink because you could tell what was the original. And I guess that nowadays there's ways to print cards to look like they're handwritten and they're not actually. So apparently using blue ink helps people to know that it's truly handwritten.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And I was taught the same thing when I was working at the School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. All documents had to be signed in blue ink so people knew that it was authentic.
Yes.
It's interesting.
We are looking for young people.
That's creepy.
Not like that. We're looking for young, inspiring entrepreneurs or professionals.
They must be located in the Orlando area because we want to give them the chance to be on Miss Biz.
We are looking for 3 inspiring young professionals under the age of 30 that we can interview on the Miss Biz podcast.
So don't hide your kids or your wife. Nominate them today. Comment the word young professionals and we'll send you the nomination form. Let's get biz done.
So the next tip on writing your power note is to use words that like you and avoid saying me, my, and I. So instead of saying, I really enjoyed our meeting, you can say you were such a bright light at our meeting. You had just focus on you as opposed to I and me.
Yeah.
So next, you want to be specific in your praise. You want to identify and acknowledge a characteristic, a talent, and a unique quality that person possesses.
Yeah, so this is a really good tip because it shows the person that you're paying attention, they remembered you, and it was important to you. I know I've gotten notes in the mail where people were very specific about certain things from our meeting, and I thought, wow, they must really care because they remember all of this detail.
Right.
Yeah, and one tip that you can do when you're meeting with the person is to take notes and then put it in their contact card in your phone. That way you always have like a synopsis. So if they tell you how many children they have or just different pieces of information about their life, you can keep it all in one area that you have on your phone.
Right. And then you could remind yourself of that when you're writing your note. The next tip is to leverage the power of positive projection. So this is identify a personal characteristic that you want to improve and express respect for others who possess that quality. So this could be happiness, wealth, balance, work-life balance, any of those things. But in identifying their characteristic, also mention how much you respect that or you hope to achieve that same level of quality that they have. So this next one was really interesting to me, and I did a little research to try to figure out why this was recommended. It's to write slightly with a slope upwards. So I would have thought you want to try to write straight across the page.
Yeah.
This says to have from left to right a slight upward angle. To me, that would look
Like kind of slapping.
yeah. And I mean, I think I naturally write.
Same.
I don't know if it goes upward or downward, but it definitely, if I don't have lines on a page, it's going to slope somewhere.
Yeah.
But never would I have thought to do that intentionally. So I looked up why that was a recommendation, and the things I could find is that when it slopes upward, that's like a sign of positivity, like things are going in an upward trajectory. I don't know. I still don't know if I fully am bought into the upward slope. But again, this is something maybe we can test. Do some with the upward slope, some with not, and see if it makes any difference. I do think it could lend to the authenticity of it, that this is definitely handwritten because it's like sloped. But I also could see someone thinking maybe they did it in a rush.
Right. They didn't take the time to make it perfect.
Yeah, but apparently there's a book about your handwriting, how your handwriting can change your life, by Vamala Rogers. So haven't read that book yet, but apparently it talks about how your handwriting can make an impact. So who knows?
Yeah.
And then the last tip, and this is maybe one of the most, if not the important, this is probably the most important tip of the 7, and it's to have a PS line that includes a call to action. So it's ask the recipient to take some kind of action, like send me an email or send me a text or give me a call, and then you tell them something to make them want to do that. So give me a call so we can set up lunch, or give me a call, I've got an idea for you, or something that will make them want to reach out when they get this note. I think a lot of people will naturally reach out anyways, just to say
Thank you,
I appreciated the note. But if you have a call to action there that is more specific, like I have an idea or something like that, then that could lend itself to a more detailed follow-up conversation beyond just the thank you and you're welcome.
Yeah. No, I love that. So now we're going to talk about a perspective shift that most people miss. When someone reads your note, they're not just reading words, they're assigning you a role in their mind. They're thinking, this person is thoughtful, this person sees me, this person values me. And here's what's also important to note is you don't get referrals just because you're good. You get referrals because you are top of mind and emotionally anchored. And power notes do both. So now we're going to go into the difference between what is a weak versus a high power note.
Yes. So a weak power note would be something that said, hey, John, great seeing you. Thanks for everything. Let's stay in touch. A better high impact note would say, hey John, I really appreciated how intentional you were in connecting me with Sarah last week. The way you think about creating value for others is rare, and it makes a real difference.
Yeah, the difference between the two is like night and day.
Yes. And I mean, if you received that second note, I think it would make you feel really good.
Yeah.
about the impact that you made in that meeting. And so why this second approach works is because it's got a specific action, clear value, and it talks about a memorable trait from or about John.
Yeah, the next thing you want to make sure is that it's not about you, it's about them. Kind of like what Brooke was saying, where you don't want to use me and you want to make it about that person. So you just want to really make sure that it's impactful in a way that will highlight their identity. So an example of a weak one is, I really enjoyed our meeting and I'd love to work together sometime. A high impact note says, the way you break down complex situations and make them simple is a gift. It's clear why people trust you so quickly. And it works because there's zero self-focus and it highlights their identity, not just action. Now, the one thing that I would maybe say is, it could maybe seem a little bit like brown nosing-ish, especially if you don't really know that person all that well. So I would just kind of keep that in mind too, because I think a lot of people have been burned, and even if you genuinely feel that way, sometimes people may think, oh, well, they just want to get business from me.
Yeah. Well, I think there has to be a genuine sincerity and authenticity to it, and I think people can tell the difference.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point too, that you may not want to send power notes to prospects you've never met before.
Right.
You may want to send these to people after you've met them at least one time and you have something tangible you can refer back to.
Do you love the Miss Biz podcast?
Because we love you.
Here's 3 things you can do to show your support.
1, write us a review. Apple, Spotify, and Google My Business are the best platforms to write a review.
2, follow us on social media. Our handle is @MissBizPodcast.
3, join our Facebook group, Miss Biz Nation, for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes footage. Also, ask questions related to your business and discuss topics from our episodes.
So the next weak versus high impact example is vague praise versus identity-based praise. So the weak example is, you're awesome and great at what you do. A high impact note would say, your consistency and follow through stand out in a world where most people don't do what they say they will. And why this works is because it calls out a character trait and it feels real, not fluffy or,
Right.
just brown nosing, as you said.
Yeah, no, that's a great note. So you also want to make sure that it's focused primarily on relationship building instead of being transactional. So a weak example would be, thanks for the referral, send more my way. A high impact one would say, thank you for trusting me with your referral to Mike. The fact that you are willing to put your name out there put your name behind me stands a lot, and I don't take that lightly. And this works because it honors the trust, it removes any pressure, and it also builds loyalty.
Another example of weak versus high impact is the weak is just wanted to say thanks again. Higher impact, better type of note would say, I've been thinking about our conversation and your perspective on balancing business and family really stuck with me. That's something I highly respect. So this works because it shows continued thought about the person and it creates some emotional weight.
Yeah, I gotta admit and be honest that sometimes as we're going through some of these weak notes, I have said the weak notes.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm thinking of all the people that I need to just reach out to right now and kind of try to rebuild my name.
Well,
because you try to do it in a hurry. You're like, I want to make sure that I acknowledge them and tell them how much I appreciate them, but typically you're in the middle of 10,000 things, so you just make a quick quick note.
Well, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with sending the quick notes that you're referring to either. We're kind of talking about good, better, best.
Right.
So no one's going to be offended if you say you're really awesome at what you do, but why not improve upon that if we can?
I need to ramp up my A game, man. I'm slipping.
Yeah, so don't feel bad or like that people looked at it negatively, because most people don't even know this training. This is all new, so I think people still appreciate any type of a note, even a text message, anything, any touch point, but this is just a way to level up.
I'm just telling you right now, I suck, but I'm really better.
So the next example of a weak note is you're really successful. Congratulations. And the high impact, or a better practice would say, the way you've built success while standing grounded is something I genuinely admire and something I'm working to grow in myself. So this works because it adds some humility to say, man, you've really got this going on, and I'm working on that myself. It also deepens connection, and it feels authentic.
Yeah, no, that's a great note. Another example would be something that doesn't have a PS. We mentioned earlier how the PS is really just an extra way for you to make an impact. So high impact notes always have PSs, and here's an example of how that might sound. Give me a call when you have a minute. I would love to hear more about what you're building. This works because it's a soft, neutral call to action, and it opens the door for conversation.
Another good example of a PS is to say, give me a call. I'd love to hear what a good referral for you is, or I'd love to see if I could connect you with some of my contacts. Mm-hmm. If you express that you want to do something to help them grow, I think they may be more likely to respond.
So now we're going to talk about real world application and how you can apply this to your business. So first, we want you to think about your network right now, your referral partners, your past clients, your vendors, people who should be sending you business but aren't. Not because they don't like you, but because you're not consistently present in their mind. The power nodes are going to fix that.
So here's the challenge. Write 50 power notes in 7 days.
That's a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but it's 7 notes a day.
Okay.
So
I guess if you break it down like that.
Right. How long does it take to write 7 notes? Maybe 20, 30 minutes. So say 30 minutes a day for 1 week. It sounds like a lot, but it's definitely doable if you put your mind to it. So here's how you come up with those 50 names. Pull out those business cards, scroll through your phone, open your email contacts, look at your CRM, get on social media and look at the people who are movers and doers and shakers that you have met but maybe want to be better connected with. And for each person, make a list and write down one specific trait that you appreciate or admire about them. Write one meaningful sentence and add a simple call to action. And that's it.
Sounds really simple. So if you do this, your phone is going to ring, not because of luck, but because of intentional connection. So don't just listen to this episode, actually do it. And when your phone starts ringing, come back and tell us what happened.
If this episode challenged you, please share it with another business owner or business professional who's tired of chasing leads and ready to start building relationships that actually convert.
We appreciate you and are honored to be on this journey with you. We can't wait to help you, to encourage you, and show you how to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
If you found Miss Biz helpful, please leave a review and share with others.
You can follow us on social media at Miss Biz Podcast.
For legal questions or services, please visit boltslegal.com.
And for digital marketing needs, please visit boltsmedia.com.
Let's get biz done.